Hello everyone, this is Crota giving you a shoutcast and a game between Apollo's TT Apollo AK versus Gamma Bears' Sen here on Daybreak. Now, a couple of things to note right already off the bat. I wanted to say I figured out some of the audio issues that were going on in my games, and hopefully this will hopefully this will actually be a little bit better now. No more of that weird echo that was happening. Now, a couple of things that I wanted to say. This game was actually taken from the World WCS qualifiers from Taiwan. And my trip out to Taiwan actually was a little bit, or very much, esports related, as I did meet up with the TESL and establish some contacts there. And I am going to be able to give you guys the qualifying match and finals of the Taiwan Esports League for WCS. I also will be giving you guys a couple show matches as well. Stay tuned on my channel as more information does get underway. We do have thermal takes, Apollo AK versus Gamma Bears' Sen, a Zerg versus a Zerg matchup here. Now, as always, let me go ahead and hide that for you guys to make sure. Now, Zerg versus Zerg here on Daybreak, you're not going to see very much of anything too out of the ordinary. We are going to see perhaps some early action, as Apollo now already going into a earlier extractor, so it might be an extractor pool coming in from Apollo AK. Meanwhile, Sen looks like he's going to be going for that hatch first strategy, which means that he may be a little bit more defensive. By playing defensively, he should be able to get a nice economic advantage. Meanwhile, Apollo AK's going for that extractor pool, and then after that spawning pool is up, he will be able to train up a queen, get out some Zerglings, and then establish this location down here. One of the reasons why pool first does work well in Zerg versus Zerg is because the queen still increases your production. In Brood War, the only way to get additional larvae was by creating additional hatcheries, and because you needed that extra hatchery early on, most players did try to go for that hatchery first. But now that there is a hatchery, or a way to get larvae besides building a hatchery, that definitely does help out. Getting a little tongue-tied this morning, as we're gonna see Sen open up with an extractor and a pool himself. You can see the drone is wandering around. Overlords are in position. Sen pretty much knows that there is no expansion yet. Apollo AK already setting up his queen, so he's gonna get a little bit more of a sudden boost in terms of larvae, as we are going to establish that hatchery now down on the low ground. Wait for that drone. The drone just gonna sit there, patrol a little bit, as Zerglings are now moving on out. Hatchery is already up for Sen. This hatchery is now being placed down. You can already see double queens coming down from Sen. So Sen is going to catch up very, very quickly in terms of overall production. But there are going to be a small number of Zerglings on the map getting some important scouting information. The metabolic boost for Apollo AK is going to be completed about a minute faster. But with these double queens, AK is not going to be able to deal that much damage. He will be able to at least scout, but will he be able to pick off a drone or two is going to be the key question there. Drones now taking a little bit of damage. Queen now making its way over. The queen with a range of 5, much more effective at dealing with this early Zergling harassment, as it doesn't need to wander around nearly as far. You can see that how effective that harassment is. One queen able to push away that Zergling there, and the Zergling is wandering back. Sen now even in terms of supply, 26, 26, 30 over 36 now, as Apollo was a little bit supply blocked. Sen now training up a couple of Zerglings. We are getting a spine crawler here on the front door, making sure to try to pop and detonate any Zerglings before they get their way in. Meanwhile, AK is going into that Baneling's Nest. Baneling's Nest should be able to handle all of those Zerglings, but are they going to be offensive or defensive Banelings? So far, AK only has 2 queens, 1 at each base so far, but there is no spine crawler, so he's going to be a little bit worse in the defensive end, as Overlords are positioned to spot all of these Zerglings running across the map. With all of these Overlords, what is AK's response? AK is to get Zerglings of his own. Spine crawler is now down over here. 2 Zerglings versus 1. They are going to battle it out once more, as we now see about a dozen Zerglings trying to make their way in. Zerglings now trying to come in. Queen queen may get surrounded. This is not good. AK cannot afford to lose this queen. One queen already down there as the Zerglings getting in a very, very early victory. A second queen now being, or a third queen now being trained to replace the one that was lost, as Sen now coming in with a large number of Zerglings. The queen is coming in position here, trying to back himself into a way so that he cannot get surrounded. Nicely done by AK to keep his unit alive. There is one Baneling that was unable to detonate off in the corner. Zerglings once more battling it out, and so far Apollo is doing, or AK is doing an okay enough job handling all of these Zerglings from Sen. Sen now just going to come in, get a quick surround here, and Sen has dealt his damage. 33 drones compared to 25, taking down major production units such as those Zerglings. As, oh, what was that? A Zergling did not finish off that one drone, as it is now able to grow up to be an extractor. The Zergling count is starting to fall for Sen, but Sen already has his economic advantage, 12 drones and counting. As Sen now going to go ahead and say, I have the economic advantage, there's not much I need to do, I'm going to transition. And AK, the ball's in your court. What is going to be your answer? Defensive Banelings most likely coming in. Sen is running off of 4 gas. We'll see if he does transition into Mutalisk. In a Zerg versus Zerg matchup, Mutalisks are one of those things where if you have 6 Mutalisks to 3 early on, that will just continue to snowball as we are going into that Spire. Sen now looking to go Zerg versus Zerg, getting those Mutalisks first, but we already see AK is doing that as well. Both sides getting gas. AK is a little bit behind in terms of gas, and also very much behind in terms of overall harvester count, as there is a 16 harvester difference between these two armies. So Sen with his hatchery first opening, definitely much more, definitely a better build if you're not going to be too aggressive. Sen did play defensively and then just built the right amount of Zerglings at the right amount of time. And AK now also going into an infestation pit. There are defensive Banelings as the Zerglings are now trying to come up. AK is a little bit behind the 8 ball here. Will these Banelings be able to get any damage off? No, unable to do so as the Zerglings are trying to engage still. Zerglings and Banelings, both sides still battling it out, as the Zerglings just hold on to that Zelnaga tower. Sen opting to take his third as an Overseer now makes its way in. The Overseer does see the infestation pit, he does see the fungal growth, but AK really splitting up his gas. That infestation pit, getting that pathogen glands, is going to make it much more difficult to get a very, very heavy Mutalisk count. Now, Sen is going to be on the aggressive end as his Spire is completed. He's already training up 5 Mutalisks. He could easily get an additional 5 or 6 as he has the gas for it. Zerglings now looking to take down the, oh, what was this? A proxy Spire? Didn't even notice this. Apollo AK built his Spire in a rather unusual location, hoping that it wouldn't get scouted out. But the Zerglings have in fact seen it, taken it down, and that is going to be a huge loss for AK. I had saw that creep over here, didn't expect much of it, as I knew there would be an Overlord right in the center, but I didn't expect to see a Spire there. And now the Spire is down, and AK now going into a Roach Warren. That I don't agree with. He needs to go into Hydralisk. If he's going to into Infestation Pit with Infestors, he needs a way to at least be able to attack those Mutalisks and take them down. Alright, Banelings, these Banelings are not going to be able to make it back home, will just be remotely detonated by those Mutalisks there. No splash damage lost. Zerglings now coming around the far side. Will they be able to get inside? No, an Overlord is in position, and the Banelings just melt away all of that attacking Zerglings, and the Mutalisks of Sen take down this forward Overlord as well. We are now at a 40 to 50 supply difference between these two armies. Sen playing as an absolute beast so far, and one of the better players from Taiwan, and that definitely shows as he is in the finals here. Mutalisk still trying to fly around. We are at 61 supply compared to 120, a 60 supply difference or 100% difference between these two armies, as Sen now going into Roaches, and I believe he is just waiting for the right time to strike and destroy, as we're going to see Mutalisk now make their way inside the main base, doing a lot of harassment. The Queen's now trying to make their way over, as Zerglings now inside the natural Spinecrawler poking away. Some damage is being dealt. The Mutalisks are backing off. Sen now up to 152. As AK finally goes into an Infestation Pit. I don't know if the Infestation Pit is really going to help out all too much, or the Infestors are going to help out all too much, as he doesn't have that much energy. If he had that earlier, perhaps that would have been better. The Infested Terrans are going to be a lower in count, as AK wants to be able to fungal growth and then also lay down some infested Terrans underneath. And it will really depend on that. There are 3 queens in play, and all it would take is one bad move from Sen attacking with this army, and then allowing the Mutalisk and the queens and the infested Terrans to finish this off, as the Overseer is now backing up. But we now see the counter army from Sen, a large number of roaches. And these roaches are simply going to destroy all of these queens and these infestors. And there is nothing seen at the Xel'Naga Tower, so AK is going to be really caught out of position, as we do see movement speed bonus on those roaches. Roaches just melting away one queen already. It looks like there's going to be some minor attack off over here. AK doesn't realize how far behind he is, as this massive roach army is going to destroy the natural. And now all the Mutalisks have been taken care of by the infestors. But the main problem is going to be all of these roaches. Roaches are 1-0 upgraded, going to be able to make it up the ramp. Evolution Chamber now being added, as the roach is just going to melt off, most likely the layer, take down the Evolution Chamber, and there is the GG. Game 1 going to Gamma Bears' Sen. Stay tuned for Game 2.